Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. It is take two this morning because technology was not cooperating. My internet connection, my computer just got lost, and I had to restart my machine, so we had to restart the live as well. Okay, so it looks like it's working. Let me see if I can get the feed up on my machine so I can see all your comments while we're crafting. Let's see. Okay, looks like we are up and running. Okay, it's working. Okay, good morning, Tara. Okay, so yeah, so I don't know, what was I saying? Now that I'm doing this a second time, I've forgotten where I am. Anyways, on Thursdays, I post two cards to my group, or actually before Thursday, I post two cards to my group, and I ask my followers on Facebook and on Instagram to vote for a card to make live on Thursday mornings. And it was a tie when I went to bed last night, between my Facebook voters and my Instagram voters. And it just happened that this morning I got one more voter and it tipped the scale. So we are making a Cascading Fun Fold card today. It's great. It's a great way to showcase DSP, and it looks really impressive, sits well on a mantle. I know that my mother would love to display her cards and be able to have them stand up. So I know not to send her any weird folds that she cannot stand up properly. Okay, so what was I gonna say? Yes, if you're joining in live or on the replay, I would love to hear where you're watching from and get your comments and join in the conversation because it is more fun to craft together. Okay, so today we are making the Cascading Fun Fold. Let me just switch my camera over to the desktop now that my computer is running. Just close your eyes while I move the camera. Okay. All right, so there is a lot of cutting to do, and I actually pre-cut a lot of it. Well, the card base and the mats, but we'll have to cut the DSP still. I made this card. I mean, there are lots of other examples around of cascading fun folds, and so I used one particular demonstrator's measurements, and there were a few errors. So I ended up with a larger border than I intended from the original, and that's because I had to adjust for the errors that I ran into. And I'm going to, for the live, I'm going to make it so that it's only, instead of a 1/8 inch border, or yeah, a border, I'm going to go with a 1/16 inch border. So we'll see how that looks at the end. I think it'll look prettier. This looks good too, but we can compare side to side after and we'll see how it looks. So okay, so I used the Retired Painted Christmas DSP. This is the ephemera pack. Let me just grab, where did I put it? It is the Joyful Sayings Ephemera pack from last year, I believe. And I actually only had this one, so there's two of each of the ephemera in the pack. I already used the other one of this one, so we'll have to substitute something else. So that's what you can do when you're making your card and you're using my video as a guide. You can substitute all your own DSP. That's basically the easiest way to do this because you don't have to have the exact same DSP. You can just mix and match what you have. And go from there and make your own creation. Okay. All right, so I am going to I'm just going to tell you that if you're watching for the first time, my measurements are always in the video description afterwards. You don't have to rush to write things down. You can just enjoy and then refer to the measurements afterwards. And I just want to give some of my viewers the, good morning, Sandra. Thanks for joining in again. I'm just going to give some of my viewers a little lesson on how to read the measurements on your paper trimmer, because I think some people may not be comfortable with some of the measurements, especially when you get to the 1/16 inch level. So, so each inch on your ruler here, I'm just going to hold this up a little higher, is divided up into 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so every single tick mark is 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so every tick there, see, that's a 1/16 of an inch. That is 2/16 of an inch. Sorry, actually one. Oh, you know why? Because the first tick mark actually is hidden underneath, is like this groove. Okay, so from the groove where you're cutting, there's one here. This would be 2, that would be 3, and this is 4/16 of an inch, which is also a 1/4 inch. Okay, so 1/4 inch is here. So you can see that the line is slightly longer here, and then 1/2 inch is here because it's another 4/16. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/16 of an inch, which is also a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then if you're looking at an 1/8 of an inch, you can see that it is 2/16 of an inch makes an 1/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, so that is 1/8. Another 2/16 is another 1/8, so that's 2/8. And you can see that the tick mark is very slightly longer here, so that's the 1/8 inch mark. Okay, so I hope that helps, like for those of you who have trouble figuring out what the tick marks are and what the measurements are, because there are a lot of measurements in this card that require a 1/16 of an inch and an 1/8 of an inch, or 3/8 of an inch. So that's just a little lesson. I hope that helps. I did pre-cut a bunch of these already, so we won't be measuring everything out today, because it would eat up a lot of time, and I want to focus on creating the card rather than just cutting DSP. Okay? Okay, so I have cut the card base, and I've cut the white mats that surround my DSP. I'm going to cut the rest of my DSP, and then we'll focus on the actual card base, how we can fold it into this shape. Okay? So my DSP is going to be, okay, so the back piece here, the red piece, is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And like I said, I will put all the measurements in the video description when I'm done. So this is already 3 3/4 wide, and I'm going to cut it down to 5 inches here. Okay, and then I'm going to take the other DSP, and I need 3 4 1/4 piece. So let me just double check what this is. This is 4 inches, so I'm going to need to cut 4 inches. Let me just double check this piece. This one is 4 5/8, so I'm going to cut 3 inches off of this piece. So 3 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then the last piece that goes in the front is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. So let me just double check again. Okay, so 2 1/4. Three and a half this way. Right, so that's our DSP. Okay, let me grab the card base now, and we'll focus on putting in the score marks for this. I just need to move all these out of the way. Okay, so this is a regular half sheet of 8.5 by 11, okay? I'm just looking at the screen and it feels like, I won't adjust it. It feels like the angle is not quite right, but anyways. All right, so we're gonna score this half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. So this is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I'm going to score along the long side at 1 1/16. So that's 1 and then 1 tick mark. So that's 1 1/16. Okay. Thank you, Tara. 1 1/16, 2 1/8. So 2 inches and 1/8. So 1/8 is 2/16, right? So I'm going to move over 2 tick marks. So that's 1/8. Okay, 3 3/16 is the next one. So I'm going to go with a 3-inch mark and then 3 tick marks is 3/16 of an inch. And then the last one is 4 1/4, which is the same thing as 4 4/16. So I'm going to move over 4 tick marks. Okay, so that is all the scoring. And now we're going to cut. Okay, so we're going to take 3/4 of an inch off the top section here. And I'm only going to go down to the 3rd score line. Okay, so I don't know if you can see there's 4 score lines, but I'm going to go down to the 3rd one and I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here, and it's just so handy that the trimmer has measurements on both sides of the cutting groove. So I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch, which is let me just do the quick math, 12/16, right? So if you were to count all of these, don't forget that there's one that's actually right underneath this groove here, or the edge of this groove, because it can't be shown. So okay, so I'm going to move this over to 3/4 of an inch, which is 12/16. Okay, and I'm going to actually use my ruler here, and I'm going to actually not use the ruler. I'm going to line up my cutting blade with the 3rd line of the score line. So rather than having to come down and make sure I stop at the right spot, I'm going to start at the spot that I need to stop at and then go up. Okay, so I just need to line this up, and excuse me while I tilt the angle so I can see. And yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so I'm starting the blade at the 3rd score mark, 3/4 of an inch. I hope I didn't move that. No, it looks good. Okay. Double checking. Okay, 3/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna take that up. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut off this portion. Okay, so I'm using the score line right here, and I'm just going to cut down to that where the cut starts. Okay, now we're going to use this edge to cut off another 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and it's going to be from the 1st score line. Okay, so let me just tilt this so I can see. Okay, so I'm just pressing the blade in. When it was, you could see that it was sliding up and down just now. It wasn't actually cutting anything because it was loose, but now I've pressed it in order to make that cut. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow the groove, the score line here, and I'm just going to trim off that little section. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're going to fold this. We're going to take our bone folder and we're just going to burnish all the folds. Okay, so I'm folding it in half and then I'm folding it backwards. then forwards again. And actually it's easier if you just let it lay out flat and flip it as you need to. Okay, so I'm going to do them really well so that it will sit nice and flat. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is cut off these corners here. Okay, so I'm going to use the last groove, the last fold line, and I'm going to cut on an angle to that corner. Okay. And then the same thing over here, I'm using the second groove line to cut to that corner. Okay. There. All right, so now our card base is almost ready. So this is how it folds up. Oops, like this. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Okay, so now what we assemble is we're going to take the other card bases that I cut. If I can find them. Here we go. All right, so we want it to fold like this. I'm just going to bring this back in so you can see. Okay, so we're going to put the, actually, so we need to use those groove marks and everything as a guide, and it makes things so much easier. Okay, so we're going to glue this onto the front of this fold. So this is the front of this fold, and I'm actually going to lay it flat so I can put on tear and tape. Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball this. You can use whatever adhesive you want. Doesn't have to be tear and tape. I think it would be fine with any adhesive. Okay. So I'm just rubbing down the adhesive with my fingernail to make sure that it's stuck well to the paper, because that will make it easier to lift off the backing. Okay, if you have trouble with the backing, you can use the take your pick tool or a toothpick or the little tweezers to just lift up that edge. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put this on. Yeah, Tara uses tweezers. So that's, yeah, you just need a pointy tip. If you don't have long nails, or maybe your nails are, I was told actually some of these nails were too thick because they have, I forget what kind of nail application they had, but it made the edge of their nail rounded and thicker, and they could not get it underneath any of the adhesive backing. So that's another reason why you might want a pair of tweezers. Okay, so I got sidetracked by my own thoughts, and what I wanted to tell you here is that I've lined it up against the fold mark, but not over the fold mark. Okay, so that will give your card, that would, if you've put it over the fold, the score line, you would end up with too thick of a fold. You wouldn't be able to shut your card properly. So make sure that when you put it on, that you're just up against the score line, but not over top. Okay. Okay, so the last one, as you can see, it covers up the front panel, so it's going to go right on top of here. So I always thought this card was very complicated to make, but then when I actually made it, and I think you'll see as well, it's actually pretty easy. It's really just assembling all the layers and then putting them, after you've cut your base, to just put them on properly, and it looks really impressive. Okay, so my last piece is here. And like I said, all my measurements will be in the video description afterwards, so you can follow that. Okay, so there is our card base. And I mean, you know, from there, you can go in any direction. You can decorate these panels any way you wish. I have my white mats and my DSP ready now, so let's go ahead and assemble those before I put them on here. Okay, and I'm aiming for a 1/16 of an inch gap around the DSP, and then a larger gap around the white mats. So let's see how that turns out. I'm actually going to use glue now. Okay, tell me, who has started Christmas shopping? I know that if we have any American friends that they haven't even had Thanksgiving. Their Thanksgiving is coming up, so I don't know. Do they start Christmas shopping before Thanksgiving is over, or what's the deal there? Because that would leave very little time. Oh, and here we have another reality crafting moment. Okay, I just put the glue on the back of this, and my mat, it fits exactly. It's somehow I cut it to the exact same. Oh my gosh, I did. How is that possible? Okay, reality crafting. All right, so let's leave that, and I'm just gonna double check. What did I measure this to? Just wondering. Okay, I cut my white piece wrong. Okay, so I'll cut another piece that's big enough for this. So my white piece, I'm just going to double check. It's my measurements say 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. 3 7/8. Yeah, that would be correct. Okay, so I cut my white piece wrong. Just give me a second. I will cut the right size right now. Even though I checked and double checked, it's so easy to make a mistake. I can see how, you know, the original demonstrator that I copied the measurements from, I can see how it could get very confusing. Oh wow, Sandra, you're good. I can't shop too far ahead because I'm always worried that if what I chose doesn't work or doesn't fit, that I won't be able to return it. So I can't shop too early until those extended holiday the extended holiday period, return periods kick in. Okay, so 3 7/8, just making sure that I have the right length here. Okay, 3 7/8 is the width. And then 5 1/8 over here. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm going to reapply the glue. It should still be tacky, but just to be certain, I'm just going to put on another bit of glue. And that's the good thing is I didn't use a lot to begin with, so it won't get really wet or anything. I think it should be fine. Okay, let's try this again. So this should give me a 1/16 of an inch all around. And that looks much better. Okay, let's move on to these. Shali's saying she hasn't started yet, which is totally normal. It's November 20th. You still have just over a month. I tend to be an early shopper, and I do start looking early because I do have ideas for some people, but not everybody. But, you know, inevitably, somehow, there's always somebody I'm last minute shopping for, and Sometimes, usually the people I don't have lists from, and the ones I have to think on my own. So that would be like my husband, and he's so hard to shop for. Oh, this is working out. Okay, so these ones are 1/16 of an inch. So you can see that this is a much thinner border than the original card. And Sandra's saying she doesn't shop for clothes for her daughter, but I'm not talking even just clothes, like stuff, you know, you're not sure, like I'm not sure sometimes that they're gonna like whatever object I've picked or whatever color it's in. So I try to wait until the extended holiday return periods start so that, you know, they don't feel like they have to keep it. But, you know, if you're sure, then, you know, that's great. You can just go ahead and buy. Okay, I put this a little too far over. Let's move this down just a tiny bit. And that is the beauty of using glue. There we go. Okay, so that is just the DSPs and the mats, and now we'll mount them into the card. Yeah, fair enough, Tara. I understand if you want the thicker borders. That gives you, it does give you more room to play with when you're mounting your DSP and such. I just personally like the 1/16 inch border, and it works for some cards, and maybe for other cards it looks better with a 1/8 inch border. But we're gonna see and compare on this card how it looks. So this gives me a wider edge border on the base. Oops, I just moved it. I'm gonna move it back. Okay. Yeah, you know, Sandra, we got Lego from my son all throughout high school and stuff, and that worked for many, many years. I don't know how many hundreds of dollars we have stored in our basement, but I don't know if we should add more. But luckily my daughter has lots more interests, and you know, she's easier to buy for now. So we haven't added to our Lego in a while. Go. But Lego is fun. Definitely. We are actually into, we've gotten into puzzles in the last couple of years, and done puzzle racing, which has been a lot of fun. So we have a stack of puzzles in our house. There we go. So there is your cascading card. And now all we have to do is decorate, right? And it looks impressive already. So what I'm going to do, just so you know that, you know, this one is already filled up here. I didn't actually want to make the writing in my card cover up this DSP, because I really like this DSP. So I chose to leave it for the back. So I will add another white piece back here when I'm ready to use this card. And put all the writing and the sentiments for the recipient back there. Oh my gosh, a 2,000 piece. Wow, we haven't gone past 1,000. 1,000 has been usually around our cap. I have not done a 2,000 or a 5,000 piece. Okay, I don't even know where I'd set that up. Like, we only have one big table, because the other big table is my craft table. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to get another table just for that. We do have those roll-up mats, but when it's that big, I don't know. Okay, so let's decorate. We're on the last part. So like I said, I already used the other die cut for that piece, so I've got Holly Jolly. So I think I'm going to try that. And I'm going to add some ribbons. So this is, let's see, the Fine Art ribbon, also retired. Let's see how we can do this. I'm thinking of just putting like a oh my gosh, I'm looking at the comments. Is that an extra zero there, Sandra? You said a 40,000 piece? 40,000 piece? Oh my God. That's crazy. I don't know if I would have the patience to do 40,000 pieces. Okay, so I think I'll arrange it like this. Yeah, okay, so let's cut off somewhere around here. And I'm gonna put adhesive on the back, and we'll arrange our ribbon on before we apply it to our card. So this is how I stick on the ribbon. So I'm just going to put tear and tape, or you can use Stampin' Seal, which is what I'm using, and then your ribbon will stick to it. So I'm just going to arrange it in kind of like a fold here. This. I think that's going to work. Very simple. I'm just going to trim this to be on more of an angle and a little bit shorter. Oh my gosh, I see a link from Sandra. I think that means that she really did mean 40,000 pieces. I can't imagine working on a 40,000 piece. Okay, so I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this now. So I like to use tweezers when I'm placing my embellishments and my sentiments so that I can get my fingers out of the way and then kind of see where it looks best. So I think maybe just, I think I'm going to put it off of center right there, because this is a cascading card. It kind of looks like it's, looks good off to the side. And that is really simple. Okay, so the center part, let me see if I can find another sentiment for the middle. This, you know, is cut from gold paper in my stash out of using the Forever Fern dies. Okay, let me just see, where can I find another sentiment? Okay. I'm going to use the same one just to make things easier, because I do have the same piece left. Oh, look at this. I think this is all done. This one, oh, I can get rid of that one. Fantastic. Okay, so let's pop this out. And maybe this one you could put it in by itself. It still looks good, I think. Let's see if I have another circle. Let me see if I have a circle instead of having to die cut one. Oh, yes. See, I keep all these scraps. All right, here's one. It's much bigger. That one would actually work well, if you can see that properly. And I feel like I still need some sort of gold greenery. I have this from the Forever Gold specialty paper. I wonder if this would work. I don't know how some people can craft live because it would be very stressful for me. I wouldn't be able to do it in a speedy manner because it takes me forever to decide. I think that's too big. And also, you'll notice that in this card, the inside sentiment is hidden, and I think this will make it, this might be a little bit big, and then it would peek out. So let me just see. I guess it depends where I put my sentiment. It could be hidden. Might be a bit big. Let's try the original white that I cut. Let's see if we can do this. I'm not sure I like that. I may have to cut another one of the other Forever Fern. Ladies, do you have any opinions on what to do? I think for now I'm just going to adhere this here. So let's put this, I'm going to put the circle on first to make sure that it's looks centered and that it's not visible. Okay. Oh, the green with the white is hard to see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I should use maybe cherry cobbler. That's an interesting idea. I could try cherry cobbler. Okay, because Tara brought up that comment, and I do want to try it. I'm not going to spend more time doing it now. Or should I just do it now? I think we have time today. I'm not running overtime. So let's maybe try cherry cobbler instead of white. Let me get out my cut and emboss machine, and it was a stylish die that I used. So let me just get some stuff out of the way, and we'll bring in the cut and emboss machine and some cherry cobbler. Okay. I'm just gonna find like a piece big enough. Oh, I think I see one. Here we go. Let's see if that fits. Perfect. Okay. Need my top plate, and we'll run it through. Let me get this out of the way. Let's see how this looks. I hadn't considered using the cherry cobbler until Tara said something. Okay, what do you think? Does that make it pop more? I'm not sure. Let's flip this open so you can see it better. And then, where's that gold gone to? So maybe something like this. Thoughts, comments? Because there is a bit of delay when I'm waiting for you to respond. I don't know. I think both could work. Maybe what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and do that. just for something different. I don't normally use a colored circle. She's saying not sure on the sentiment. I'm not sure what else would work here. Let's see. Because this is Misty Moonlight, and there's no Misty Moonlight in this. I don't think I have anything else that would work color-wise, except maybe the Thinking of You. I don't know. Or From the North Pole. Just because it says Holly Jolly on the front. Holly Jolly, maybe From the North Pole, but then it doesn't, does it look good with the, I don't think I need the circle then. Let's just punch that out and see. Happy New Year. She's saying Happy New Year. Oh, the gold and Happy New Year. Yep, that could possibly work too. Let's try this too. Do I have one that fell out yet? No. Okay. Yeah, Tara and Shali, yes, I love storing the ephemera like this because it keeps it from being bent or, you know, just damaged. It keeps it all together. I've stored my ephemera from this pack as well as the ephemera from, I think it was the birthday. It was a birthday one that came with a bunch of die cuts, and they fell out so easily. I ended up pulling them all off and just storing them inside a case. Okay, so this is the North Pole. I think works well with Holly Jolly. I just don't think it works with this shape. Does not work with the and Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year and Holly Jolly does not seem to, I don't know, work together. Okay, so maybe From the North Pole. But this, I don't know, it's conflicting with the background pattern. It actually kind of blends in. That's funny. Maybe what I could do is use a smaller white. Let me just experiment. I have a few scraps here of white, like this. And, oh, let's turn that around. Not sure about that one. I like the sentiment, how it works together. Just not sure how to make this look good together. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to mull this over, and I will post the pictures when I'm done. And you guys can find out there, because I don't want to make a final decision just yet. But the majority of the card is done, so you can go ahead now and make your comparisons. Look, so this one has the 1/8 inch border. This one has the 1/16 inch border. I feel like I like the 1/16 better. Both cards look good, but it's just a different kind of impact. How the overall... Oh, Tara, I'm just catching up on the remarks up on the screen right now to cut off the red here. Yes, I could do that. I might have to do that. I think I might do that. But yeah, I'll post that later. But as far as the two cards go, you can compare the border. Yeah, I think it highlights the DSP better somehow. But I think they're still both you know, beautiful cards. And you can go ahead and mix and match with your own sentiments, your own DSPs, and play with this. I will post the measurements for both. Okay, so I'll post this one and this one so that you can use 1/8 inch or you can use the 1/16 inch, and you can have some fun with that. So I hope that you all enjoyed the card making this week, and that you'll be inspired to make something with your stash and have fun with it. And I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.